Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to continue to funnel in, and then we will go ahead and get started in just a moment. All right. Well, it looks like we've got a good amount of people with us right now, so why don't we go ahead and jump into today's webinar. Thank you for joining us. It is going to be the Data Logger Basics, the Fundamentals of Water Monitoring. And today's presenter is going to be myself, Caleb Bourbon. I'm a sales rep here at Onset. I've been with Onset for about 3 years now, and I specialize in assisting researchers, consultants, government agencies, and universities. Today's webinar is going to run for approximately 45 minutes. I will save a few minutes at the end of the webinar to answer some questions that you may have. There will be a box that you can type your questions into. So throughout the webinar, go ahead and ask those questions as they come up. If you are not able to stay through the entirety of this webinar, no worries. We will go ahead and send you up a follow-up email with the recording. All right, so who is Onset? We are the makers of the HOBO data loggers. We are currently located on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, and we were founded in 1981. Our current sole focus is on accurate and reliable data logging and monitoring, and we are currently a world leader in data loggers with a global network of distributors. We are also ISO certified. On today's agenda, we are going to be touching on our new product, Spotlight. We'll be talking about what a data logger is, how to use a data logger, and how to choose a data logger. We'll be touching on some measurements and applications, how to collect your data, and also some useful deployment tips. I will be talking about a use case, and then we will follow up with a Q&A. All right, talking about our new product, Spotlight. This is our highly anticipated MX800 Bluetooth multi-parameter data logger. It is currently the only CTD and DL logger with a built-in Bluetooth capability to offer fast and easy wireless data offload. The HOBO MX800 series will provide a single integrated platform for your monitoring range of critical water parameters. Let us talk a little bit about the MX800. So this logger currently comes in two different loggerhead options. You have the MX801, which is your fully submersible logger. It can go directly into the water with the sensor connected to it. And it also offers a built-in water detection feature. The other loggerhead option is the MX802. That is our non-submersible logger. And that is going to come with a built-in barometric pressure sensor to allow for your water level monitoring. Again, this does have Bluetooth capabilities, so it's going to provide easy offloading, and it does have interchangeable sensors. Currently, we do have 3 sensors to choose from for this logger. We have a CT, a CTD, and a DO. You can use them individually on either logger by connecting it directly to the logger itself. Let's see, just like this one here. Or you can add in a cable to get that sensor further out. In addition to that, we do offer an adapter. The adapter is going to allow you to monitor two sensors at once. So you can do your CTD and your DO all at once, and then you'll have, salinity adjusted DO all throughout this. The new logger is also less than 2 inches in diameter, allowing you to fit it in those smaller wells. I do want to take this time and ask if anybody is currently using a data logger. So I will go ahead and open up the poll for you guys to answer. I'll give everybody a minute or so, and then we'll go ahead and go over the results. All right, and it looks like the results are in. About 66% of you are currently using data loggers and 34% are not. All right, looks like some good results there. So let's get to talking about what data loggers are. Okay, what is a data logger? A data logger is an electronic instrument that records measurements at set intervals over a period of time. Typically, a data logger should be compact, battery powered, offer data storage, and have one or more sensors. These are something that can be deployed indoors, outdoors, or underwater. It should also be able to record data for up to 2 years at a time while being unattended. How to use a data logger? So it's pretty simple. First, you're going to want to go ahead and download and install the software on your mobile device or laptop. From there, you will go ahead and connect to your logger and set your logging parameters. Next, you'll go ahead and place that logger in your desired location for your desired amount of time. And then when you are ready to collect that data, you will simply reconnect your logger to your mobile device or laptop, and then simply download your data. How to choose your data logger. There's a couple of things that you need to think of here. What are you looking to measure? Where are you looking to take those measurements? And for how long? Is this something that it's going to be a one-time situation? Is it going to be part of an ongoing project, or are you looking to add it as part of your toolkit? Another question that you want to ask is, how are you going to be accessing this data? We have different ways of accessing our data, so that's something to think about. Other additional things to consider would be the battery life based off of your deployment, the data access options. Do you have cellular access available? Are you not looking for that? And maybe also the cost of the ownership of the product over time. A couple key underwater measurements that many customers are taking would be mainly water temperature, water level, conductivity, dissolved oxygen, and water flow, just to name a few, but those are the ones that mostly people use. Going into some typical underwater applications that our customers use our loggers in would be water quality management, flood warning, dam management, and stormwater, just to name a few. And we do have, as I mentioned, a few different ways of collecting your data. Currently, we have two ways of collecting that, either by using standalone data loggers or our web-based stations. These standalone loggers, those are going to consist of your optical loggers that you see here on the left, and then the Bluetooth loggers that you see here in the middle. The optical loggers that you see on the left, those are going to require additional equipment in order to offload your data. So think of something like your waterproof shuttle or your base station. Now, the waterproof shuttle, that is something that you can, let's say you have quite a few of loggers. It may take some time to download that data and you're near a large body of water. You don't really want to bring your personal or your work laptop. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and take the waterproof shuttle and you'll go ahead and take the appropriate coupler and hook it up to your optical logger. You'll go ahead and push a lever to offload the data and then redeploy the logger and move on to your next one. After you're done collecting all the data, you'll take that waterproof shuttle back to your laptop and then upload the data. Or let's say maybe you don't have that many, or you're working inside a lab and you don't need to travel. I'd say the base station is a good go-to. That you just need your laptop device with you on site, and then you hook up the logger to the base station and then the base station to your computer. And then you're able to do the offloading that way. Your next option is your Bluetooth devices. Those are a little bit more user-friendly where they do not require any additional accessories in order to offload your data. You simply need your mobile device with Bluetooth communications and to download the HOBO Connect app. Once you are within range of the loggers, you will be able to view, configure, and manage your data. Moving on, you have the web-based stations here. These require a cellular service plan, and it allows you to view and manage your data at anywhere, at any point, without having to be on site to manually collect this data. Talking about our standalone loggers, we just mentioned the USB and the Bluetooth loggers. So again, these do require manual offloading by using either the waterproof shuttle or base station for the optical loggers, or the HOBO Connect app for the Bluetooth loggers. All of these loggers are highly accurate, easy to deploy, pretty durable, and most importantly, affordable. You can see here, there's the couplers that will attach to different USB loggers. Those do come with the base station or the waterproof shuttle. You don't have to worry about purchasing those separately. Now, if you are using our optic or USB sensors and loggers, you do need to use the HOBOware Pro software. This software is going to offer simple menus for fast and easy logger setup and readouts. You can have access to time-saving tools for fast setup, as well as access to data assistance for post-processing data. That's going to be something like your water level monitoring, or like you see here on the screen on the right-hand side, the conductivity assistance. So what's nice about this is it will offer easy you don't have to do any of that post-processing. It will do that for you. Moving on to HOBO Connect. This is the app that you are going to use for our Bluetooth loggers. Again, all you need to do is be within a 100-foot range line of sight to the Bluetooth loggers. And once you're within range, you're just going to tap on the device in the app in order to connect to it. Here is where you are going to be able to set up your logger. You will be able to choose your logging intervals. Our Bluetooth loggers can log as fast as 1 second, all the way up to 18 hours, so anywhere in between. In addition to that, you will be able to choose when you want it to stop. Let's say maybe when the memory is full, or you can do a wrap memory. If you have coworkers or team members that will also be accessing these loggers, but you don't want them to make any changes to the configurations, you can go ahead and add on a password protect feature. It's really great. It's just a 4-digit passcode, so something very easy. You can enter all of your different water parameters, your reference water level readings, your water density if you are in fresh or salt water. And then to download it, you simply, again, just need to be within a 100-foot range line of sight with the free HOBO Connect app open. It will automatically sync to any logger within range. We do also have a new feature within HOBO Connect, which is very useful if you have multiple loggers all within the same vicinity. We have a bulk download and a bulk export option. So if you have up to 20 loggers within vicinity, you can hit bulk download and it will do it all at one time. So again, it saves on time having to go around to each logger. When you export the data, you can export it as an Excel file, a CSV, or you can even import the data as a HOBO file to HOBOlink. Let's talk about our web-based remote monitoring stations. We currently have 2 remote stations to choose from. We have the Micro RX 2100 station, and then we have the HOBO RX 3000 station. You'll see the Micro RX 2100 station is up top. It is a small, compact, versatile station. The outdoor stations offer a built-in solar panel, but then we do also have ones with non-built-in solar panels if you're looking to do some kind of indoor monitoring. We do also have one of our newer Micro RX stations that have been added to the family. It would be our Micro RX water level station. This comes with a built-in barometric pressure sensor for water level monitoring and flow monitoring. You do also get 5 extra ports, so if you do want to add in other weather monitoring parameters such as rainfall, wind speed direction, temp and RH, you do have those ports to be able to add those in as well. Looking at the picture below on the bottom, you will see we have the RX 3000 stations mounted on some buoys here. These are our more robust, flexible stations where you can really customize your experience here. You get the same things that the RX 2100 offers, except instead of 5 smart sensor ports, you get 10 smart sensor ports. You also have the option to add in 2 additional modules. So think of maybe your water level monitoring and then your manager, your HOBONet manager to add in your HOBONet wireless sensors. Each of our HOBONet stations allow you to connect up to 50 wireless HOBONet sensors. We'll go ahead and touch base on that in another slide. Talking about one of our HOBONet water level sensors, this is one of our newest sensors that's been added to the HOBONet family. It was released within this last year. It offers a non-vented design to reduce maintenance. And in addition to that, you do get a 3-point NIST traceable calibration certificate. You do not have to worry about any data loss, as the data is all stored on the logger itself. You can see here that this logger does offer a built-in solar panel, which does trickle charge rechargeable batteries on the inside. It does also offer a Kevlar reinforced cable. And then now we will go ahead and talk about how to access that data. So to access your data from any of our remote monitoring stations, you're going to want to use our HOBO software. This is our web-based software where you are able to view your data from anywhere at any point in time without having to be within range. You can see here that we do have multiple different graphing abilities, and this is really great to be able to see your data across the board. So you can see graphing abilities for every single sensor. You can view it in past day, past week, or past month. You can add multiple temperature sensors onto one graph and change the color of each line so you can easily differentiate each sensor. In addition to that, let's say you have multiple sensors. How are you going to know where that data is coming from each sensor? A cool feature is you have the option here. Each sensor will show up in the system under the serial number. But what you can do is you can nickname each sensor. So you can say, you know, location 1, location 2, river 1, river 2, what have you. And you'll easily be able to tell where all of that data is coming from. Talking about the graphing abilities, again, you can layer these. We have all different graphing abilities. You can create your own custom dashboard. So when you open HOBO for the first time, it's going to be a blank slate, and you choose which sensors you want to see on the forefront. What is most important to you? Do you want to see it again in a daily, weekly, or monthly format? This platform is great because you can view it on any device as long as it has web access. In addition to that, you can share a public URL link. So let's say you have customers that really, want to keep an eye on water level for some reason, and you add this URL link to your website. They will be able to go directly onto that link, see all of the live data, but they cannot make any changes. They only have visibility. So can be useful in many cases. Again, if you have a team that you're working with and you want one person to have access, but other people to have visibility, this is great for that. HOBO will allow you to receive instant remote alert notifications via text or email. So essentially the way that these work is you have different service plans with uploading times of either 10 minutes or 1 hour. Every time that you have those uploading intervals, you'll upload to the software and back up to the cloud. Let's say you have an event in between those times. You do not have to wait for your next upload time in order to receive that remote alert notification. It will happen as soon as the excursion happens. So if you have your water level set to a certain height and it exceeds that height, you'll instantly get a notification via text or email. The great thing about this software, you can add as many notifications as you want to send out to as many people as you want. They can get it again via email or text. You decide. We do have options for flow monitoring where you can see inflows and outflows and spillways. And we do have integrated conversions for weirs, flumes, stage discharge curves. So very customizable. Here we have a neat feature that is accessible through HOBO. It's called our map view. Now, what you're seeing is actually from a wetland mitigation site where they have a station, a HOBOnet station, which you can see here located centrally in the middle. And then from here, you have all of these sensors that branch out. On this map view, you can view your station and all of your sensors by clicking on the tab. And you can see all of these lines here. What these are is these HOBOnet sensors. Each of these sensors, they are wireless, and they have a range of about 1,500 to 2,000 feet of a clear line of sight. They do work as a mesh network, so you can see if there is one sensor that is further out than the 2,000 feet, it will send its data to the next sensor until it gets back to the station, allowing you up to 5 hops. So you can see you can really get a wide coverage using these HOBOnet sensors. And again, these HOBOnet sensors do have built-in solar panels that trickle charge rechargeable batteries. These are all user replaceable. So when the time comes that they do die, you don't need to send them in for repair. Just go ahead and grab your batteries and pop them in. Let's talk about some underwater deployment tips. When you're deploying loggers underwater, you do want to make sure you do have a good steady flow. If you are experiencing really low freezing temperature water, you want to make sure that you are deploying the logger below that freeze line. We do not want that logger to be frozen. In addition to that, we want to avoid any conductive materials. And when deploying the logger, you make sure that the logger is facing vertical, not horizontal, in order to avoid any bubbles from collecting. We do offer protective housing units if you are in an area that is pretty rocky or anything of that nature in order to protect it. Some other mounting options. Again, we do always recommend that you put the logger inside of the housing unit. And in addition to that, to make sure that it doesn't float away, you can get creative and you can really mount it to anything heavy. So think of your cinder block, a big rock, anything of that nature. Advantages to this, it's not visible to the public, so you don't have to worry about curious people wanting to take these away. And again, they are out of boat traffic, so you don't have to worry about them floating around and getting hit by any propellers or anything like that. However, because they are deployed underwater and they are mounted down and not floating up, you do want to make sure that you do have some kind of marker, like a flag or something, to help you find them when you are ready to collect that data. If you are mounting a water level logger in something like a stilling well that it would be attached to a structure like a bridge or a dock, you would want to mount it from the top of the stilling well using a well cap. And then you do see here we have a direct read cable, which leads to the pressure transducer in the water. Some other options if you are using a tether mount or a post mount. Again, you just want to make sure that you have it in a protective housing unit with some slots in there to make sure that you have the water moving through, and in a vertical position. Again, you don't want any air bubbles collecting up. Talking about the stilling wells, we do have some well caps here that you can mount on a 2-inch well that do come with cable adapters. The cable adapter, you can see here, you do weave the cable through, and this is going to provide strain relief on the cable. let's talk about a use case for water level monitoring. A problem here would be the Department of Conservation and Recreation. They help dam owners manage more than 100 dams throughout the region. So typically these dam owners would need to send somebody out to site, on site, to collect water level readings, maybe during a storm or when water levels are set to rise. This also poses an inability to act swiftly in notifying a nearby population, which could lead to severe consequences by having to wait for somebody to manually collect that data. What would be a good solution to this? Instead of sending somebody there to manually collect the data and, trudge through those harsh conditions, we shouldn't be sending people out in storms. In order to avoid that, what we can do is add in a remote water level monitoring system. What this is going to allow you to configure and set your water levels, and set your notifications. So that way, if an event does occur, you are already ahead of the game. You are aware of it. You don't have to wait for a storm to start and get bad to send somebody out. What are the results of this solution? Again, you have remote access to your data. So at any point in time, wherever you are, you have access to these sites. You can be ahead of the game and proactive as opposed to reactive. And that is going to save a lot of time, a lot of money, and make sure that any of those resources that would have been applied to that situation before can be deployed somewhere else. That does wrap up our webinar for today. We did end a few minutes earlier than anticipated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the floor for some questions and answer those. If you didn't have the time to answer any questions earlier, go ahead and take the time to do so now. I do have my colleague Sean here with me, so if there's something that I'm not able to answer, he will go ahead and jump in and answer those questions for you. So thank you so
everybody.
much.
Hey, yeah, Kayla, actually, there is a question out here from Jared, and he's asking about the 2100 and the protocols for wiring in third-party sensors. I think he may be referring more towards the RX 3000 station, but would you be able to speak to that a little bit about the analog module?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are able to integrate third-party sensors. You do just need to make sure that they are compatible with our stations. So something like a 4 to 20 milliamp output, or I believe a 0 to 10 volt DC. Sean, can you correct me if I'm wrong?
I believe it's 33. 33
Okay.
volts DC is what we can take in.
Yes, so it is possible. So if you do have some third-party sensors and you're wondering if they are compatible, feel free to reach back out and we can have a separate discussion. Great.
Awesome. And there is one other that I do want to point out. We can also take in a pulse as well. So
Thank you.
that would be one. Let's see. We have some questions coming in fast now. Some of these are a little bit more involved in what we'll do is we'll ask our sales representatives to follow up with you all this afternoon. So if we don't get to your question, that just means that we're going to have someone follow up with you personally. Is HOBO downloaded from an internet page or by connecting the logger?
The HOBOnet, that is our wireless sensors. So those will connect to the station via a radio frequency, and you will set those loggers up through the the HOBOlink app.
All right. So yeah. So HOBO you can purchase online, right? Okay. Let's see. Are the meters able to be used in wastewater streams? And I think that really depends, and I guess I can answer that a little bit. It
Sure.
really depends on the stream itself. So it's something that we'd have to speak with you individually on. And it depends on what you're looking to monitor as well. So it depends on the logger and the sensor that's within the logger. Is HOBOware Pro a single user license?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, and with that, we recommend you one single user for up to 2 devices. So that can be your laptop and then your computer, or 2 laptops. So yes, 1 user, 2 devices.
Okay. There is somebody asking about SDI 12.
We are not SDI 12 compatible.
Right, at this time, I will say.
Correct.
It is something that we do get a fair amount of requests for. So it is something that we do log as what we call it an NPR, a new product request. So we do monitor those as well. All right.
All right, I got a good question here. Eric asks, I'm having trouble understanding the difference between the 2104 and the 2106 station. So great question, Eric. The 2100, the Micro RX 2100 is a series. So within that series, we have 3 separate stations. Each of those stations has an option of either solar panel integrated or non-solar panel integrated. Of those 3 stations, you have wired only, and then something like the 2104 is strictly water level monitoring. So it has a port for 1 water level, and then again, 5 smart sensor ports. The 2106 is part of our HOBOnet series. So that station has a built-in solar panel as well as the built-in HOBOnet manager. That means you don't have to purchase an additional module in order to gain access to the HOBOnet sensors. Now, say for example, if you want to go with the RX 3000 and you want to use the HOBOnet sensors, that requires you to purchase the HOBOnet Manager module. Whereas the RX 2106, it's already built in. So the 2100 station, you kind of, you get what you get. And then the RX 3000, you can really add in those modules. So good question. That's the main difference between those stations.
Kayla, I do see one. I missed the first 10 minutes. Is it possible to rewatch this webinar?
Absolutely. So we are going to, we are recording this webinar. And then after this is over, we will go ahead and send a follow-up email, probably within the next day or 2, with the recording, so you can watch it at any point in time.
All right, perfect. All right, great, a lot of great questions. Yeah, and like Kayla said, if there's any questions we can't get to, what we'll do is we'll have one of our sales folks follow up and help answer any existing questions that are still out there.
All right, great. Let's see. Glenn asks, do you have any hardware or sensors that could monitor deep water wells beyond 400 feet? So that's going to depend, Glenn. We kind of need a little bit more information here. Yes, it should be able to. So depending on the sensor that you choose, it may require a cable. Like if you go with something like the MX2001 Bluetooth water level logger, you have your logger head that's mounted at the top, which is connected to a directory cable with your pressure transducer at the end. So the cable would need to be long enough to get down to the water. And then from there, you just need to know how much water is in the well, and that's going to determine which pressure transducer you need. So those come in a 13, a 30, a 100, or 250-foot pressure transducer. But realistically, for water level monitoring, you're going to have to choose one of those either way, depending on how much water you have in the well. I don't think that that should be an issue, but Glenn, certainly feel free to reach out and we can talk about your application separately.
All right, I think we're good.
All right. A lot of great questions here, guys. Thank you so much. And again, we will be following up on any questions that we weren't able to answer. So don't fret if we weren't able to get to you. I do want to go ahead and provide you guys with my contact information now. So that way, if you do have any follow-up questions or you want to talk about your application, I'd be certainly happy to take the time to do so. Again, my name is Kayla Bourbon, and you can find my email here, Kayla_Bourbon@onsetcomp.com. If you prefer to chat via phone, my direct line is 508-743-3143. If you do require any technical support for existing loggers, we do have a tech support team that is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can find them via chat, email, or over the phone. And if you do have any questions where you need assistance with gathering a quote or want to talk about your application, feel free to reach out to an application specialist. The number you can call is 1-800-564-4377. You can also email us at sales@onsetcomp.com. And if you do have the time, we would love for you to check us out on our socials. We are on almost all of our socials, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Indeed. Do go ahead and check out our YouTube. We do have some really informative webinars there, older ones, newer ones. So if you're unsure of something, take a look at that page, and I'm sure you'll find something very useful to you. But I do want to take this time and say thank you so much for everybody that joined. It was a pleasure sharing this webinar and answering your questions. So hopefully we will see you next time.